My name is Stephanie Wall. I'm affectionately called the Tower of Power. I heard it said that our pain is connected to our purpose, and I believe there is some truth in it. But I lived through traumas in my life that many people couldn't. I've gone from victim to victor. I believe that I am God's miracle child, or at least one of many. Like many people living through life altering traumas, I was living through it hidden in plain sight. September 19th, I met up and I boarded a plane to fly 9 hours and 45 minutes to Paris, France, for a trip of a lifetime with a group of women from North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and California. I knew two of the women in the group only because I had met them the previous summer at my sister Pam's house in Georgia. Starting just days before the trip and up to moments before I was to board the plane and to fly to Europe, I was so nervous. I had flown plenty of times. I had been out of the country before. However, this was the first time I had left the country without my husband and without having some type of control over what was to take place. I was completely out of my comfort zone. I began to second guess myself about the trip. My stomach was all tied up in knots. Every few minutes, I felt as if I needed to use the bathroom. I kept going to the restroom and, and thinking I had to go, but really nothing happened each time that I went. Finally, after connecting flights, from here to there, we were preparing to board our flight to Paris. We boarded a super jumbo jet airplane. This huge plane had a separate entrance for the first passengers, which seemed like it was way up in the front of the plane. You know what I mean by the first passengers? The first class passengers. As we entered, there was a double check of our tickets to see if we were to make a right or a left. The left side led to what I described as the sleeping seats, and the right side was endless rows with 10 seats across for as far as the eyes could see. These were the least expensive seats, the cheap seats. To make matters worse, we each had booked our own flights, so we were seated in different rows and different blocks of seating on the plane. As I was making my way to my seat, I was still feeling super nervous. My back and my leg was now aching. All I could think about was having enough room for my 5'10" frame and not being set next to somebody with body odor. And all of this was taking place as I was trying not to panic about not having enough pain meds for the trip, or when I was scheduled to take my next dose of pain meds because the ones I had taken earlier were beginning to wear off. I found my seat. It was on the end, and unfortunately there was no stretching of the legs to happen because I had a wall in front of me and it was a full flight. That was unless I wanted to cough up the $1,000 to move up to the sleeper seats. I felt as if the folks back in the area where we were seated were hidden figures, like afterthoughts. Once we took off, we began to settle in, and after several hours, we started to visit each other and we tried to stretch our legs. And our host, my namesake, Stephanie, She began to pass around some candy to help with motion sickness and nervousness or just to settle a craving for a snack. After our almost 10-hour flight, we landed and went through the nerve-wracking process of customs. If you've ever went through customs, I don't care if it's in the United States or otherwise, wherever you're from, it's nerve-wracking. And you could imagine we're standing in line, we're walking up and we're just walking up and we're just getting closer and closer to those people at those guard desks. And even though we know we have valid passports, you still begin to question your safety or whether or not you're going to get through. But we got through. Our visit consisted of a whirlwind of activities. As a group, we had to roll through the forming and storming and norming, the performing, the phases of group dynamics. We had to move through their phases really quickly. We faced challenges. We gained new experiences. We had disagreements. We cried tears of joy and pain. We experienced new foods. We lost weight even from all the walking that we were doing. Why do I share this story, you ask? Les Brown says, do not give yourself permission to feel sorry for yourself or give up your power. In the spring of 2017, I thought I had reached the pinnacle of my life. All was well. I had been elevated beyond my wildest dreams and in my chosen career of law enforcement. And then I sustained a career-ending injury that was threatening to leave me with one leg or not able to walk again. I faced the fear of death and loss and coming face to face with myself, and it was scary. I felt like a child that was lost because both of my parents had died before the age of 70, so I couldn't call them for support. During that period, my husband had retired and he was having a tough time adjusting to his new normal. So it was like we had two storms going on at the same time. During the hospitalization and rehabilitation stay, a close friend said to me, Stephanie, you're going to have to get better because Kurt is having a tough time. As she was saying it, I was just about ready to press the button for more medication because the pain was excruciating. I had not eaten. I'm not sure at that point if I was going to ever be able to walk again. And I wasn't even sure who I was anymore at that point. I felt a wave come over me. I was hot and sweating, but yet the room was freezing. I was wrapping my arms around me because it was just so cold. I was rubbing my hands up and down my arms and pulling a blanket up around me. I believe my teeth even chattered. I then felt that metallic feeling in your mouth that signals that you're about to vomit. I swallowed and started breathing heavily and taking a deep breaths to fight back that feeling. I felt hot tears well up and just begin to stream down my face from my eyes. I felt so lost. In that moment, I was immediately transported back to the thought of why I hated, or why I hate, the Throwback Thursdays. You know what Throwback Thursdays are? Well, Throwback Thursday is the cute day made up by Facebook which is on Thursdays you are to post pictures representing your past accomplishments like weddings and births and proms, graduations, college, you get it. Back in the day photos, back when my journey of being a hidden figure was refined. It is the awful years when a teenage girl is trying to find out who she is, and you add in trauma associated with my environment, the lessons, losses, mishaps, mountains, and molehills. The introduction of Throwback Thursday was a reminder that I might as well have been invisible because I was hidden in plain sight. Mr. Lim says, don't let the past steal your present and future from you. You might not be proud of all the things you've done in the past, but that's okay. The past is not today. The past cannot be changed, forgotten, or erased. It can only be accepted. So many years passed, so many changes in my life and environment had occurred. Why was I suddenly transported back over 20 years? I thought I had gotten over it. I thought I had put my past behind me. I thought I had removed the mask and came from out of hiding. I thought, I thought, I thought it all came rushing back like a tidal wave threatening to wipe out my entire life. I shrank. I had my own private pity party. We have to be careful to take these parties of ours because after a while we start to invite folks to the party and we start bleeding all over those that did not cause the pain. I was so caught in my misery that I began to tell the story of how I was injured and what the doctor said over and over and over and over and over again until one day it dawned on me that I was believing God with my prayers for healing, but doubting Him with my words and actions. I had also heard the words of my friend and mentor, Gloria Banks, in my ear saying, girl, how long are you going to tell that story? You have 5 more minutes to cry about that, and then I want to know what you're going to do about it. That is what she says when you're having a personal pity party. You see, I slowly begin to refocus by leaning on my faith, focusing on what I could do and practicing mindfulness. As I began the task of getting stronger by working with a physical therapist, it, my life began to slowly change. Fast forward several months later in 2018, my sister Pamela was raving about a planned trip to Paris with a group of friends and how she was going to put a down payment down on it. I decided that it would be a goal of mine to be able to go to Paris with her and her friends. So I put down a deposit. During the trip there was a basilica, a church that had 270 stairs from top to bottom. It took some time, but I was so filled with joy and tears were streaming down my face when I made it to the top. I looked around and the others were crying for their own reasons, but most like me, this was a trip of a lifetime. They had their own issues and they too were amazed at how God helped them to make it to the top. We all went inside and went to various corners to pray, and I vowed from that moment on that I would not let my past define me and that every opportunity that was in line with my goals and dreams, I would entertain. Blessings upon blessings came my way. And then COVID-19 struck. But this time, instead of falling apart, I pivoted. In fact, I was courageous enough to launch. It took this pandemic to shove me out of the nest, and it led me to creating Speaker Stephanie LLC, an organization where my passion to help women of Generation X through Y who have experienced trauma live a more authentic life with more energy, engagement, and elevation has been realized through speaking and coaching. It caused me to come out of the shadows to share my life and my story to help others heal. Through building communities, God sent another blessing to make sure that I was truly not a hidden figure. He saw to it that Dr. Stevie Mills crossed my path at just the right moment to take my business and me from low visibility to high visibility. This happened by way of her private group called No More Hidden Figures. You heard it. No More Hidden Figures. Dr. Stevie's group is a Christ-centered group. She not only helps to increase your physical presence, but your online presence by helping you to monetize, to use your voice, to share your story and your ministry. You see, folks, my pain was connected to my purpose. And like Les Brown says, other people's opinions don't have to become your reality. I'm not all that I could be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be. For the Stephanies of the world, God is not through with you yet. The second half will be so much better than the first. To those who cross paths with Stephanies of the world, look under the water. You are only seeing the tip of the iceberg. And again, I am Stephanie Wall, affectionately known as the Tower of Power. My superpower is love because I know that a negative attitude toward others can never bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I will believe in them and myself. Step out of the shadows. The world needs you. Your story may be the pain medicine for someone's pain. As Dr. Sherwood says, and I'm sure Lisa Nichols also says, your story may be about you, but it's not for you. Thank you for your time and attention. Stephanie Wall, the Tower of Power, signing off.